Welcome to the Saints Happy Hour podcast featuring Dave Cariello, Andrew Juge, Ralph Malbrough, and when he decides to show up, Kevin Held. We are the perfect blend of Saints sincerity and stupidity.
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
No, I got the other one too. I'm just reading the wrong one.
You just went full Ralph.
You never go full Ralph.
You went Ralph to a level that Ralph hasn't gone.
Hey Ralph, here's a new opening.
And now, here's your host, Ralph Malbrough.
All right, everybody, welcome to an edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. It is Falcons Hate Week, but before we get started, I want to tell you about support for Armchair, and this podcast comes from Manscaped. They are the number one, Dave, they are number one in below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineering for your family jewels. Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. Their Lawnmower 2.0 proprietary skin-safe technology on this trimmer won't nick or snag your nuts. That's very important. Manscaping accidents are finally a thing in the past. Don't use the same trimmer on your face that you use on your balls. That's nasty. Manscaping also has the Crop Preserver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant moisturizer. You always put deodorant on your armpits. Why aren't you putting deodorant on your smelliest part of your body? Get 20% off and free shipping with the code armchair at manscaped.com. Always use the right tool for the job. Your balls will thank you. So, Dave, it's Falcon Hate Week.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say, of all the, we've really grown as a podcast.
We have.
And the thing I'm most proud of as we have grown is the higher quality ad that we get and, the great copy that we get to read now.
Well, here's the thing.
We've made it. We've
made it. Well, look, we will endorse just about anything. The only ad we ever turned down was a guy. He had a manifesto about gun rights, and he wanted to sponsor the podcast. And this is back in the day when me and Kevin only had like 100 listeners, and we had a powwow, and we were like, we can't have the guy with the gun rights manifesto. And Kevin was like, yeah, but you're conservative. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know, the gun rights manifesto. So that's the only ad I think we've ever turned down in the history of the show.
How much did Angry Who Dat want to pay you?
He wanted to pay me a 6-pack of beer, but 2 of them were already open. So, Fredo's at the live chat on the live stream. Thanks. Join us in the live stream. Ask us questions. Andrew is currently trying to survive Disneyland with his family. I'm already 4 drinks in tonight, as you can see. So, Dave.
No, actually, we can't see you.
So, Dave, how was your Halloween? My Halloween was fantastic. My kid, he dressed up as a pirate for the church trick-or-treating, and then on Halloween, he dressed it as SWAT. He got a crap ton of candy that he ate, and I think he had so much sugar in his body, he could have been...
Me?
You. He was like a smaller version of you, and part of me was like, how can you stuff that many mini airheads in your mouth at the same time, kid? Are you really a Cariello? Like, it was insane, Dave. Like, this kid.
Wait, so what did he dress up as?
He dressed up as a pirate on Sunday night, but on actual Halloween, he went as a SWAT team person because it was cold here, so we dressed him in the SWAT team because you can layer it underneath and then put the SWAT outfit on him, and he was warm.
Right. Well, the Halloween night outfit, that's the one that counts. That's the one when you're like 35 years old and you said, "Oh, when I was 3 years old, this is what I was for Halloween." It's the costume you wear Halloween night. It's not the one you wear when you go to like trunk or treat at your school, or if you have you go to a party, some other social function. It's the Halloween night costume. That's the official Halloween costume for the year.
So yeah, I did not because I was planning on going as a pirate and the weather changed on us. My pirate outfit I just had like a shirt and a hat. So when he went as SWAT, I couldn't go as a pirate, so we weren't a tandem. So
Well, that's disappointing.
I wanted to go. Well, the thing is, I had ordered my. By the way, people, you should order it. It's at the link to our site. It's a Forever 28 to 3 T-shirt. That's what you should order to appreciate and get into full hate week for the Falcons. Listen, Dave, the Saints have had it's been a while since, they played a game, but they had a ton of news since we've been gone. We'll review the first half, but were you disappointed that they didn't do anything in the trade deadline? I got sucked into AJ Green mania. Certain people on Saints Twitter were claiming it was a done deal, that they had sources, and I got sucked in for a good 10 minutes, and I was fantasizing about AJ Green being on the Saints. Even though, if you listen to this podcast and you're a patron and you help us have a podcast every day, you listen to the Kat Terrell of The Athletic, and she told you people 4 weeks ago, Cincinnati doesn't do trades in season. Get that AJ Green nonsense and that Tyler Eifert nonsense out of your head, because Cincinnati don't trade in season, even when it benefits them. They just don't do it. And I still got sucked
directly. Yeah, she told that directly to you, and you still thought that they were going to trade.
I'm stupid. You're.
Yeah.
It's true, Dave. But were you disappointed? I was crushed for like 5 minutes, and then I got on with my life. But were you disappointed that they didn't do any trades?
I was not. I wasn't expecting them to do anything. So, no, I barely gave it a thought, to be quite honest.
Man, last week was rough. Between the Saints not doing anything at the trade deadline, the Astros losing the World Series, it was a hard week in the Marlboro house. It really was. I'm not going to lie. But yesterday, Dave, was a good day. I felt like it was national, let's make sure the Saints are the number one seed in the NFC day in the NFL. Like, all the good NFC teams, Green Bay lost, Minnesota lost, Tampa could have done us a solid and held on to their 2-touchdown lead, but they couldn't, so Seattle ended up winning. But yesterday was a really good day for the Saints. So before we look back,
Panthers won though.
Yeah, but I feel like the Panthers, they only
won't
beat.
Go away.
They beat bad
we
teams.
Get to play them twice.
But whenever they play a good team, they get kicked in the nuts. You know?
They only beat the Titans by 10 points.
I mean, the
Titans aren't bad. They're 4-5.
No, but I mean, like, they play San Francisco, they get kicked in the nuts. They'll go to Green Bay this week and get kicked in the nuts. Like,
They're no New York Jets.
My wife was mad the Dolphins won because they're not in the position to get the top pick.
Yeah,
they can't even tank correctly.
Yeah.
But so you weren't disappointed at the trade deadline, but I was thinking, Dave, and it of all the craziness that, because the Saints are 7-1, and if you'd have told us in August that the Saints were 7-1, we'd be like, that's possible, that's likely. But the way they've gotten to it has been just amazing and crazy and that sort of thing. But I was thinking of the most crazy part of the first half of the year, and I have to say it's Michael Thomas being the most valuable player on the Saints and the best player on the team and the most important player on the team. That's been the most surprising to me. We always thought, he's really good, right? But Drew Brees has a lot to do with him being great. But he's been great with Brees, he's been great with Bridgewater, he's on pace to break the catch record. Like, to me, that's the most stunning part of the first half, that Michael Thomas is now the most valuable Saint. Is that the most stunning thing to you, or is there something else?
I don't think it's stunning. I think everything you say is absolutely true about Mike Thomas, but none of that is shocking or surprising. I mean, obviously, being 7-1 and having Teddy Bridgewater win you 5 games is stunning. And obviously you could make an argument that Kamara is great, Drew Brees is great, Cam Jordan is great, but they've been able to win games without Kamara. Latavius Murray has stepped up. Ladavius Murray, as we like to call him. Brees goes down, Bridgewater steps up.
Speaking of Latavius Murray, your ex-boo last night looked amazing.
Yeah,
I tweeted at you.
You saw those twinkle toes on the sideline?
Yeah, I tweeted at you. You didn't respond. I said that were you sad watching Mark Ingram run all over the Patriots last night?
I was sad. Well, you didn't expect me to get my head out of the ice cream bucket while I was sobbing just to reply to your tweet. Did you?
Yeah.
He looks great. He looks great.
He looks faster, man. Ever since he got on the juice and he got suspended, he's looked amazing.
Well, they were wearing all black last night. That makes everybody look a lot faster.
That's true.
But no, I'm happy. I'm happy he gets to be on a team. I'm happy he gets to be on a team where he still gets to win and be a contender, and maybe even possibly play the Saints in the Super Bowl. I would have been. It would have been sad if he had to be stuck somewhere like in Miami. He doesn't deserve that. Nobody puts baby in a corner.
It'd be like walking by and your ex is homeless begging for money.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I just wanted to break up. I hated you when we were dating, but after we stopped dating, I didn't wish the worst on you.
I don't want you to be a crack addicted homeless person. Come on, get your act together.
It only makes us all look bad.
Yeah. Yeah, because I actually used to love you, and now you're addicted to crack. So it was. The thing is with Ingram is, like you said, I didn't think of the all black makes him look faster, but you're right, it does. So my theory that he's looked better since he got suspended for the HGH or whatever. But the thing with the Saints, Dave, is they're playing Atlanta this week, and we'll get into it. But I saw something. Atlanta did something today that I can't remember doing. They didn't fire anybody on the coaching staff, but they literally were like, hey, Raheem Morris, we know you coach wide receivers. You're going to coach defensive backs now. And this dude you were coaching here, you're going to coach over there. Like, they rearranged what positions guys were coaching.
The Falcons did this?
Yes.
That's, I mean, if ever there was, it just reeks of desperation.
It
I
does.
mean, they're just throwing shit at a wall and hoping it sticks at this point. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, this franchise is, oh my god.
I mean, could you imagine if the Saints, like at the nadir of the Rob Ryan years, that on a Monday Sean Payton was like, look, Rob Ryan, he's coaching tight ends now, and Pete Carmichael, he's running the defense. We're just gonna give it a whirl and see how it goes, because it can't be any worse. Like, that to me, it's not even rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. It's almost like if you, Dave, one day you were like, the whole T-shirts and Greek paraphernalia, it's not working out. We're gonna start pouring concrete. We're gonna be a construction business. Like, it's just it makes no sense, and it's not even. I wouldn't even call it. It's desperation, but it's borderline insanity.
It's just stupid. I mean, it's
it's comedy. That's what it is.
How poorly run of an organization. The Falcons are so bad that we've got the Jefferson Parish school system.
We do
using the Atlanta Falcons to teach math. You saw that tweet video that they put together.
I did see that.
I mean, the production quality of the video is so corny and cheesy, and like they get the kids to act, and so when you have really bad child actors, it's like really cringeworthy. But yeah, they were basically doing math problems using the whole 28-3. Yeah. Okay, well, the Falcons did have a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, but the Patriots won 34-28. So how many points did the Falcons score? 0. Oh, that's right, 0 points. The Falcons scored in the second half. How many points did the Patriots score? 31. Oh, that's right. And then, Drew Brees thumbs up, and all the kids put their thumbs up, and they're all wearing bandages around their thumb because they're injured because they're Drew Brees.
It is a comedy fact that any Falcons 28-3 joke always lands.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go to I think it was the Jefferson Parish school system. I think it was their official Twitter account.
I mean, that's just a way that they were having a meeting, and they're like, this Twitter thing, we're tweeting all the time. It's not working. People don't care about our school system. And somebody was like, let's make a 28-3 joke. And they're like, hells to the yeah, and they just shit blew up. Now they got more.
Then it goes viral, and then then
New
Jefferson Parish becomes the greatest public school system
the
in the
news
country.
picks it up. It's probably the lead on the news at the 12 and the 4 o'clock news. You know. Um, Yeah, somebody said the Falcons were ranked 28, the Saints were ranked third. Like, there's no the 28-3 jokes is a bottomless, uh, everlasting spring of just goodness. It will literally last until the Falcons win a Super Bowl, and their fan base is so broken. Andrew stumbled upon a Twitter thread where fans were arguing with each other. Some of them were like, even if we win a Super Bowl, it doesn't cure the pain of blowing a 25-point lead. And Andrew was like, this fan base is so broken. They're worried that even a championship won't fix them. And it was
They're so
just.
scarred.
And I just like turned out the lights and put on some Barry White and just read the tweet over and over again really slow. So, somebody mentioned in the chat room Willie Snead looked good last night. Yeah, that's the one. Mark Ingram, he doesn't hurt that bad because Latavius Murray is looking good, and Latavius Murray is like 80% as good as Mark Ingram, but like 60% of the price. The Saints, they could really use Willie Snead because remember Cam Meredith? He was a dud, and they paid him about as much as Willie Snead makes with the Ravens. Willie Snead was one. I was watching him last night, Dave. I was like, I miss you, Willie. Why did you have to drink and get a DUI and get in the doghouse?
I know. Look, I know we're like obviously a little concerned about wide receiver, but I don't know. I don't know why, but I feel like they're going to start using Taysom Hill more in the passing
Yeah.
game. I really feel like he's more so than he's ever been. Partially because they trust him and because he's good at it, and partially because there's a need there. But I just I don't know. I think Taysom is gonna kind of be a band-aid and fix a little bit of this
You know,
problem that
we
they've
were,
got.
we were me and Andrew were talking about that late last week going into the bye, and there was a stat that I saw that really sort of eased my mind, and it's not really player based, but in spite of missing Drew Brees, in spite of not having Kamara for a couple weeks and Jared Cook for a couple weeks, the Saints are still ninth in third down conversion rate. So to me, like that shows that the offense is okay. You know, they're kind of like 15th in points, 24, but Breeze will get back, and hopefully that'll get up. But to me, Dave, seeing that they were ninth in third down conversions, it really eased my mind. And I think you're right about Taysom Hill. But would you say that if I said to you, Dave, second half of the year, we know Michael Thomas is going to be number one in receptions. Who's going to be, maybe Kamara will be number two. But who's going to be the third guy with the most receptions? Do you think it's going to be Taysom Hill, or do you think it's going to be Jared Cook or Traquan Smith
Ted
or another person?
Ted Ginn probably
Ted.
I would say. I'd probably say Ted Ginn.
Ooh.
Well, going back to what you were saying, third down, ninth in the league, third down. I mean, Mike Thomas, Michael
Smith,
Thomas,
fat Anderson Cooper.
Michael Thomas obviously has a lot to do with that. I mean, he's a go-to guy, and that's what I was going to say earlier, and we got sidetracked. But what I was going to say earlier when we were talking about, I don't remember what we were talking about, but Michael Thomas is the one guy on this team, on this offense, that cannot get injured. Again, Kamara can get injured and Latavius Murray can come in. That's great. Drew Brees can get injured. Teddy Bridgewater can come in, and that's great. But Teddy Bridgewater can't win games without Mike Thomas. Mike Thomas is just he's every quarterback's wet dream. I mean, he's always open. He's always open. He's always making the catch. He can be trusted. You can throw it to places where only he can get it, and other guys can't do that. Can't get it. And I mean, he on third down, if you got 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and you're doing a short pass, he's the guy you're going to go to because you're going to get it.
Somebody said in the chat room we need a sound bite for every time we talk about Mike Thomas. Yeah, we do. We need a sound drop. But here's the thing, and this is going to sound weird. Michael Thomas, Look, I've never been one of these people. Certain people on Saints Twitter's like, he's really good, but he's not top five. I was never like, I didn't care to have that argument because, like, if you're arguing whether he's fifth or he's seventh, I don't give a fuck. But the thing that really sort of changed my perception about Mike Thomas, and I just he became even more amazing in my mind, Dave, was when they went to Chicago. They didn't have Kamara. They didn't have Jared Cook. And the Bears literally knew if the Saints are going to throw the ball, it's going to be Mike Thomas. On third down, it's going to be Mike Thomas. And the Bears still, they couldn't cover him. And he was running wide open for huge plays on third and long. And to me, I was like, wow. Mike Thomas had 130 yards against a top 5 defense, and he's literally the only functioning receiver the Saints have. And I just like my appreciation and awe of him went from like an 8.5 to like a 12 out of 10. Like, I know that sounds weird, but I just it was one of those moments where my perception of him changed off of that one game.
Yeah, no, I think he's again. That's why we were talking about him earlier, because you asked me about MVP of the season, for the half season for the Saints, and I genuinely, really and truly do think that it's Mike Thomas, even over somebody like Drew Brees. Again, if Mike Thomas is out, the offense has a really hard time moving the ball as easily as they do, and converting third down, like you said. But again, Drew Brees goes out, Teddy Bridgewater can step in, and Mike Thomas can help Teddy Bridgewater be a successful quarterback. And having Mike Thomas obviously helps the running game. It's just without a doubt he's the MVP.
Here's the question that I was thinking of too, and I was writing my Channel 4 column for the week, and I was thinking about I ended up writing on a Michael Thomas, but I could have wrote it on Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan has 8 sacks. If the Saints get to 14-2 or 13-3, and Cam Jordan gets to 16, 17, 18 sacks, which, oh, by the way, Atlanta's offensive line is dreadful, and if Matt Schaub plays Sunday, they're going to sack him 900 billion times. But if Cam Jordan, Dave, can get to 16 plus sacks, and the Patriots defense sort of like they did last night sort of comes back down to earth and isn't one of the great statistical defenses of all time and is just pretty good, can we start talking about Cam Jordan getting Defensive Player of the Year?
You could, but I don't know. Cam Jordan's just not a flashy guy. He's just not popular across the league, I feel like, as compared to other defensive guys. And right now the talk is about the Bosa brothers.
He was MVP for Halloween, though. Did you see his Halloween costume
No.
at the Pelicans game?
No, I didn't.
He was a referee complete with a flag in his pocket. It was amazing. Cam Jordan is my favorite, and he also had a great quote today about, we say it's every other week, that it's just another game, but it's not because it's Atlanta. Like, I was just like, my heart, like my heart started to flutter, like, to know that Cam Jordan hates the Falcons as much as we do.
He's petty, so he's
petty.
He's one of us. He belongs with us. He's petty AF, as the kids say.
So, yeah, I mean, the thing that's been amazing about this defense is basically, and I think we talked about it maybe last week or a couple weeks ago, is as we go off season, we do the podcast every week, and we do it every day now for the patrons that you should subscribe. $7, you get access to a podcast every day, and we'll ship you a magnet and a koozie. But so we talk about these things, and we talked about the defense all off season, about like what had to go right for it to be better, and we talked about how we thought it would be really hard for it to be better because Demario Davis probably maybe wouldn't be as good, and would Davenport take the leap, and would Garner Johnson be good in the secondary? How would the secondary respond? Would Eli Apple progress? And like everything on the defense, Dave, it's like check, check, check. It's like literally everything has worked out to all our hopes and dreams. I can't think of anything on this defense that isn't going well, which as a Saints fan, as you know, the last 10 years, like to say that about the defense, to say it out loud almost scares me.
Well, I can say one thing, and that's I really miss Alex Anzalone. I wish he was out there. I miss the hair. I miss you playing. You probably don't even. Oh, you do have it. You still got it. Great.
I got it. It's on the soundboard forever.
I thought maybe once Anzalone goes on IR, the soundbite, the Mario music goes on IR too.
No.
But no, yeah, it's been great. I mean, it started off a little shaky for the secondary. We were a little worried there to begin with, but by week 3, week 4, whatever, Lattimore got into shape, and everybody else has fallen in line, and they've looked awesome. They looked awesome. Chauncey Gardner Johnson, he's coming in.
He's a little punk, and I mean that in the most positive sense.
Right.
Like he's arrogant. He's got the little attitude that you need for the little slot corner. Like I'm down for him. He's going to be really, really good if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I like him. I like him a lot. He's got a lot of attitude.
So, is there? I mean, you look at this defense, and the thing is, the hard part of their schedule is behind them. We say, well, they had a bunch of sacks against Deshaun Watson, and they haven't had a lot of sacks lately. But I think that's just a function of the teams they played with. Russell Wilson, you don't want to rush him because he can scramble. Gardner Minshew, they wanted to keep him in the pocket. Even Trubisky, kind of the same thing. He could run, and Kyler Murray too. But Dave, you look at the schedule where they get Atlanta twice with their crap offensive line. You get Tampa again with their crap offensive line. You get Tennessee with their garbage offensive line, and Ryan Tannehill. Like, this defense, I think the sacks are about to rain down upon us, and it's going to be fantastic. Am I wrong to think that we're about to have a sack, I don't know what you would call it, sackapalooza or whatever? Am I wrong to think that?
Sack buffet. Time to eat, boys. It may not actually work out that way, but yeah, on paper, absolutely. On paper, like you said, the schedule gets easier. The competition should be a little bit easier. So yeah, they should definitely start to ramp it up a little bit.
Yeah, people in the people in the chat are arguing about what the Saints should do in the off season, on who they should keep and whatnot. I like it better when you people.
We're halfway through the season. We're already talking about the off season.
Yeah. I like it better when you people argue about what Halloween candy are elite and what Halloween candies are trash. By the way, Dave, the Popeyes chicken sandwich, it'll be back shortly, right? Or is it already back?
No, yesterday.
Have you partaken of the return of the Popeyes chicken sandwich?
No. First of all, there were rumors that a couple of the Popeyes around here in my area had them a couple of days early, ahead of time, before Sunday, and obviously they were doing the major countrywide release on Sunday while Chick-fil-A was closed, just to take a little shot. There's a little bit more of that New Orleans pettiness for you right there. No,
petty as fuck.
My problem with it is I've had some good ones and I've had some bad ones, and it's like super disappointing when you go and you order one and it's like the shitty one. Like, I've gotten it one time, they didn't put pickles on it, and I really feel like the pickles make that thing. So it's hit or miss, but I'll grab one soon. I'll grab one soon. But right now it's McRib season. Okay, McRib is back at McDonald's, and anybody who's known me at any point in my entire life knows that I am just a sucker for a good.
I don't understand. Sometimes, Dave,
processed rib meat sandwich.
Sometimes I marvel that you're still alive and still doing this podcast after a decade, because your eating habits are atrocious. We've literally had podcasts where people can hear you eating a pound of Sour Patch Kids, and you're downing it. You're chasing it with a McRib. I worry about your your health is.
I've got good genes, Ralph. I've got good genes.
I don't know. The only thing I got good was my father had really good teeth, and that's it. The rest of my body is just a shit show.
Well, see, I'm the opposite. My father has had really bad teeth his whole life, but he's 81, and he has smoked at least a pack a day since he was like 15, probably, and he's fine, totally fine.
See, that's
So,
like an aunt that I had. She smoked, and she was like in the she lived to be like 87. She literally like my dad went to her house, and she was like 86, 87. She was dead. She literally had a lit cigarette in the ashtray and a glass of wine and the remote in her hand. And I was like, that is the way to fucking go. But
she's
she
my
used to
fucking
say,
hero. I didn't even know. I never met the woman. Already my fucking hero. Already respect her.
she would basically say, she'd be like, should you quit smoking? Because my grandma quit smoking. She's like, I'm not quitting smoking. I'm too old. Like it's done. It's a done deal. Like either I've got it or I won't. Like I'm 70. Like I've been smoking since I was 15. Like you know, like the that ship has sailed. So I always admired her. You know. But besides
Totally.
that and my father dying on his fishing boat, that I think that's the way to go. Just not no suffering, just here one day, gone the next. But anyway, we don't talk about death except
Well,
for
now
Atlanta.
I have a lot of questions now, but I guess we won't get into it.
What? Go ahead. Go. You have questions. You can ask questions. We can
Well,
get
you
weird.
said you said your father passed away on the fishing boat, but okay, but like what? Just of natural causes, or I
Well,
mean, like
here's the thing. Like my mom, she didn't. They were so upset. My wife is groaning because they didn't do an autopsy for whatever reason. So they don't know. My part of it was he had just gotten diagnosed with Parkinson's, so maybe that was part of it. But part of it was thinking that like he had like issues where he would, sometimes he would have like acid reflux. It could have been that. It could have been a heart attack. You never
wait, you
know.
can die from acid reflux?
Well, yeah, if you're like sleeping wrong and it comes up, and I guess you could,
Well, you just said dying. You
to
just
choke,
said he
right?
died on the boat, and that was like an optimal way to go. But you didn't say
Yeah,
how. I
well,
mean,
yeah, but I mean, like
well,
to me, like that's better.
They took
Like
Big
I would
Pussy out
much
on a boat in
rather.
The Sopranos.
I would much rather die on the boat
That
than
wasn't
like in the hospital bed with an IV hooked up to me. Now, granted, I wouldn't want to be like Big Pussy and get like 4 bullets and then dumped
Right.
overboard.
That's
Yeah.
why I was asking, because you said your dad went out on a boat ride and like he never came back. And
He
I
never
didn't
came back. No, no, no,
know
no,
what the fuck you were
no. My father wasn't. My father wasn't in the Lacombe, Louisiana mob. He wasn't. He wasn't mobbed up like the Sopranos. Although, if he would have been, it would have been fine. Uh,
Well, this has gone totally off the
this
rails.
is going, but you see though, this is the people that listen. This is what they listen for. And oh, by the way, I want to remind people: sign up for the live show December 14th. Dave, we are at 115 sign-ups, I believe. That was the last check from Andrew.
How many?
115.
Jesus. I don't even
that's
think. Is that room? As the fire marshal, have they looked into how many people can be in that room upstairs?
I think the room, I think they can put in 250 chairs and it can seat up to 300.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Hey man, and
That's
Channel
like a
4 is
small
going to make me
theater.
Channel 4 is going to make me a graphic. So I get to promote it 2 weeks prior, so that'll be fun. So and right, we have if you RSVP, we give you a shirt, and the more shirts we have to order, the cheaper the cost. So RSVP and get yourself a shirt. But I also want to remind people of that. But I also wanted to thank them, Dave. Dave, 2 consecutive months, we've had 30,000 downloads. In fact, at one point last week, we reached 77 on the most listened to Apple football podcasts.
What number? What was that? What was
77.
Wow. All
I
right.
just want to be top
Football
50.
podcasts.
Yeah, in America. I just want to be top 50 one time. I think we could do it if people cared about me and y'all would just all group up, or if we could get like a big, huge guest, I think we could push us to 50. But that's my dream. If you want to get me something for Christmas, get us in the top 50.
Dear Santa.
Daniel says number one in the off-topic podcast, but basically, off-topic and bad audio is our brand.
Hashtag on brand.
Hashtag on brand. The Cowboys are beating the Giants 20. Has Jason Witten scored a touchdown? I need him to score a touchdown so I can have a second consecutive victory in the Saints Happy Hour Auction League. That's the league where I paid $182 for Jared Cook.
So now you have Jason Witten as your
I
tight
need
end.
Jason. Yeah, I picked him up off of waivers because Josh Hill was my tight end and he was on a bye. So I need Jason Witten to score a touchdown. It's a shot in the dark, Dave.
Their other tight end had a touchdown.
That doesn't do me any good. And I think I was playing
45 yard catch and run.
All right.
Oh, did Gallup just score a touchdown? Because he's on my fantasy team.
All right, we got questions. Over under this week for Taysom gets the hat trick, a receiving touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and he throws for a touchdown.
Wait, over under? I don't. How do we set that?
Oh, yeah, that's not really a good question, Russ. But do you think if that did happen, Russ, if he got the hat trick, that would be fucking amazing. Like if he got the hat trick and Atlanta lost 28-3, they would have to send Dan Quinn back to Atlanta on the bus. Like,
has that ever happened? Has anybody ever done that before?
No. Well, the USC, they fired Lane Kiffin.
No, I mean run a touchdown.
Oh, I'm sure they
catch
have.
A touchdown and throw a touchdown.
I'm sure they have. Thomas Stewart asks, with the Pats exposing the 49ers suspect, when will national media be forced to recognize the Saints as the most complete team in the NFL? Will national recognition jinx the team? Can they play as the favorite? Do you mind that the national media sort of shuns the Saints?
No, I prefer it. I mean, I like, as we get later in the season and the Saints keep winning, I mean, I like that I can listen to, national shows or the mainstream media and they talk about my team. But at the same time, I like the Saints playing as underdogs better than as favorites. I think that's where they fit best.
Yeah, I like them. Just not. You don't want to be too far off the radar because that means you're not that good. So I like the Saints where they are. Fredo asks, any chance the Saints-Niners game gets flexed to Sunday Night Football? The game currently is Rams-Seahawks, and the national TV game is Chiefs-Pats. No way. If
it's first of all, it's set for a noon game. It could be flexed to a later afternoon game, maybe, like the game of the week. I don't know about the Sunday night game, but there's no way they're keeping that game at noon.
I don't know, though.
I don't think so. No way they keep that game at noon.
Yeah, I mean, especially if the 49ers continue undefeated. But the 49ers schedule gets brutal. And I think guy who blogs occasionally still, but doesn't blog as much, Reed had a great point of, are the 49ers the Josh McDaniels Broncos who started out like 6-1 or something, and then their back half of their schedule was just brutal, and they ended up 8-8. I think that the 49ers will end up
Time will tell.
They'll end up at least 10-6, 11-5. If the Saints win the Super Bowl, Dave, does Teddy's perfect record get him into the Saints Hall of Fame regardless of where he plays next season?
Unfortunately, I don't think so.
Billy fucking Kilmer's in the Saints Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah?
Chris, yes, it would. Not at first, but eventually it would. And oh, by the way, did you see how Teddy Bridgewater spent his bye? He went to his high school in Florida and got with the dance team and learned the step and was doing the strut. It's just amazing. I need the Saints to do Loomis magic, cat magic, and keep Teddy Bridgewater and Breeze for next year. I need Teddy Bridgewater as my Breeze heir. I need it. This is from James. Where would getting Dan Quinn fired rank on the scale of Saints Falcons moments?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
That's got to be top. I mean, first of all, it's a real possibility. It's a real possibility that it could happen. And I don't know.
I
How
mean,
did top? I mean,
if you
what's
rank
up there?
Saints top moments, I mean the 42 to nothing beating in 87 is up there. The Saints Falcons playoff game, even though it ended badly for the Saints, that's a top moment. The Big Ben moments in the 70s, 78, 79, where Atlanta hit two Hail Marys. They had a Hail Mary, and then they had a pass interference on a Hail Mary, and won both games, and they went to the playoffs, and the Saints didn't. Um, I'm trying to think of, others. Saint the Julio copter is a top one. Uh, Thanksgiving moment, Um, it would probably be if
It's
the
got to be top
Saints
three.
got Dan Quinn fired and won 28-3, it would probably be like the second greatest moment in Saints history besides winning the Super Bowl. Like I kid you not. Like Atlanta fans would want to draw and quarter Dan Quinn if the Saints win 28-3 Sunday. Like it would break them as a fan base, I think. This is an interesting question. Big or fail? Baker Mayfield not being able to connect with Odell Beckham Jr. on fourth down, or the Falcons not being able to trade Beasley for a Popeyes chicken sandwich and a Pepsi.
Who submitted this question?
That's from Patrick.
Oh.
I mean,
Bigger. I'm gonna have to go with Odell Beckham and
I mean, Odell Beckham made end stage Eli look competent most weeks.
Baker
And
Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield just like the Browns are an example of if you make a very bad hire at head coach, it doesn't matter how talented your roster is, you're fucked. And they just made a god awful hire. And yes, in case you people in the chat room want to ask, I'm still extremely bitter that I picked the Browns week one in our survivor pool and I lost and I got put out. And by the way, there's only 15 people left.
That's on you, man.
One of them is my mother. She is super excited that she may win the Saints Happy Hour Survivor Pool. That'll be fun. I'll do a podcast with my mom, and we can just go over how I became a Saints fan, and she can just list all the times they lost when I was younger and I cried. It'll be fun. Have you ever seen, Dave? Have you ever seen a team with so many key young players with playoff experience like the Saints? And he lists them all. I mean, this team is really young, and they have a ton of guys. Do you think I'll flip it this way. Do you think the playoff experience helps them or hurts them this year?
I don't. I mean, I don't. I never played football. I never even got close to playing football. I mean, why? What does the playoff experience have to do with how well you play in the
I
regular
don't know.
season?
I mean,
What is this? What I don't.
I can think of a bunch of teams that won the Super Bowl.
I
like
think playoff experience might help you in the playoffs. If you've got guys that were in the playoffs last year and you're in the playoffs this year, that's one thing. But I don't know how much that helps you in the regular season.
Ooh, here's a good question from Wicker. If the Saints are up 28-3 and in scoring position late in the game, what does Sean Payton do?
Take a knee. Take a knee.
Yeah, the thing is though, I don't necessarily think, I mean, it would be fantastic if the Saints at the final score was 28-3, but really, if any point on Sunday the scoreboard is Saints 28, Falcons 3, like that's all we need. It's all about the selfies and the pictures, right? It doesn't have to end that way. It just has to be on the scoreboard in the Superdome to make us happy, right, Dave?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we just have to have the memories. The memory is what's most important.
Ooh, here's a good question from Dreamu.
By the way, that would probably catapult to the number one Falcons Saints moment ever.
It would.
Then number two would be Dan Quinn being fired. So we would get the top two. We would get the top two Saints Falcons moments in one day.
Hopefully my forever 28-3 T-shirt will be it'll be in time so I can wear it on my live shot Monday morning on WWL, and you guys can see it. And if the Saints win 28-3, it can. I won't even need to make the joke. It'll just be across my chest. So that's who. So here's a good question for me. Who has the better chance of winning a title this year, the Saints or LSU? Um,
Ooh,
I mean,
big
I
game
would.
this Saturday, huh?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think the loser between LSU and Alabama, as long as the game is close, I think the loser will still get in the playoff if they win out. So I would probably lean LSU just because I think even if LSU loses Saturday, if they win out, they'll get in the playoff. And to win the college playoff, you only got to win 2 games. For the Saints, they got to win 3 games, and they got to get the number 1 seed, so they got to get to 13, 14 wins maybe. I would probably lean LSU as the better shot to win than the Saints, but it's close, and that's cool. Dave, Tulane.
I was about to say I don't know why Tulane wasn't an option in that question.
Well, Tulane is 6-3. They're bowl eligible for the second time,
Yeah,
back-to-back
buddy.
years. First time in 20 years that they're bowl eligible. And
Yeah, buddy.
How are you feeling about the Green Wave? Give us your 30-second Green Wave update.
I'm feeling good. I mean, I'm happy that they got the win. They were supposed to beat Tulsa. They took care of business. But the rest of the schedule is tough. We've got a bye this weekend, and then we go to Philly for Temple. That's not going to be an easy game. Then back home for UCF, and then we take on one-loss SMU. So, I mean, I said 9 wins at the beginning of the season, which means they've got to win out at this point. From this point out,
Their conference is sneaky damn good.
yeah. Oh, yeah. The AAC. I've been talking about this a lot with a lot of people the last few weeks. And the AAC's whole marketing thing is the P6. The Power Six. They put it on their yardage markers, on the chain gang, at all their games. And I mean, basically, what they're just saying is let's instead of having Power 5 conferences, let's have 6. Let's include the AAC, and let's give at least one team in the AAC a chance to compete in the college football playoff and win a national championship. And I think that's a totally fair and a totally legitimate ask. I mean, you've got SMU, Memphis, Cincinnati. Tulane's up and coming. Houston is falling off, but they were good. I mean, you've got a few teams in the top 25. Wow,
Daniel says highlights top 5 Saints Falcons moments: Breeze's spin move, Gleason with the block punt.
Oh yeah, how could we got Gleason?
Yeah, I mean that would be it. But I would say Fredo asked if there was a Saints fan Hall of Fame, where would 28-3 would it get in? Of course it would get in. If the Saints fan base had a Hall of Fame, if Saints Twitter had a Hall of Fame, 28-3 would have its own wing in that Hall of Fame. Alfredo, that's how big. So thanks to everybody for the questions. Dave, we got to make a prediction on this game. I have to say this is going to be an awkward week for me because people that listen to our gambling show, which, by the way, you should listen to the gambling show. Dave, if people wanted to gamble, where should they go?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me pull up my ad copy so I can read it. I wasn't really prepared. I was going into my pantry to steal some Halloween candy. So anyway, as a true football fan, you already know, just as sure as the seasons change, Tom Brady will keep the Patriots in the game. Every weekend, our favorite gridiron warriors put their skills to the test. So why aren't you doing the same? We're almost halfway through the NFL season, so now is the time to get off of the sidelines and get in the game with MyBookie. MyBookie is the premier place to bet on all your favorite pro and college football action every weekend. They always have the most up-to-date lines and the most prop bets of any sportsbook on the planet. So if you're going to bet this season, do the smart thing and bet with MyBookie. Are you tired of watching the games from the couch with nothing to gain? MyBookie wants to get your mind off of everything else and back on the game. And the best part is, if you join right now, MyBookie will double your first deposit. That's right. If you put in $1,000, they'll give you $1,000. That's double your initial deposit you can use on all your favorite picks. Just use promo code CHAIR to activate the offer. That's promo code CHAIR to double your cash. So visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid.
Gambling. I love it. And I'm ahead. Bet against Rutgers, you win money. But also, Dave, I'm a little not torn this week, but it's part of the deal. If you listen to our gambling show every Friday, which you should, we live stream it. You can listen to the archived version if you're a patron. You know that every week during the NFL year, I bet every double-digit underdog, and so far, double-digit underdogs are 12-10 for the year. But this week, it gets a little dicey because one of the double-digit underdogs is the Atlanta Falcons. The Saints are favored by 12.5 against the 1-7 Falcons. Dave, who you got Sunday?
Well, I wouldn't take that bet. I would. That's one double-digit underdog that I would not bet on. This is ridiculous. This is probably the most. I feel like I'm saying this as I'm saying it. I'm jinxing us, but I mean, so far this season, I would say this is as sure of a win as the Saints have had on their schedule so far. And I know you predicted 28-3 on your morning video chat with Eric Paulson. But to be honest with you, that's still not enough. I think it's going to be an even bigger beatdown than that. Matt Ryan, he's not going to play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they don't even have Matt Ryan. They were terrible before with Matt Ryan. They're even worse now without Matt Ryan. They've got nothing left to play for. They really have nothing left to even live for. And like we discussed earlier, Dan Quinn might possibly need to hitchhike his way back to Atlanta. So I'm going to say, and by the way, Drew Brees is back. So go fuck yourselves. I'm going to say Saints 35. There's not even going to be any field goals. It's going to be all touchdowns. Saints offense is going to cut through Atlanta's defense like a hot knife through butter. 35-6. Saints win. And we'll go with Taysom Hill for the player of the game.
Ooh, interesting. I'm going to say the thing for me is
over 100 yards receiving. First 100-yard receiving game from Taysom.
It's hard to predict. I agree with you. I think the game that the Saints have to worry about with Atlanta is the Thanksgiving Day game because that's on the road and it's a short week and it could get weird. This game, the Saints are going to win. I do think the competitiveness or the amount of ass whooping the Saints are going to lay on Atlanta depends on if Matt Ryan plays. If Matt Ryan plays, the Saints are still going to beat Atlanta down, but the point spread gets a little dicey. The 12.5, I think Atlanta could cover it. I think it could be moderately competitive for a while. Although Atlanta's defense, it is a shit show. If you haven't watched the Falcons this year and you just sort of hate follow them, but you don't actually watch their games, their defense is Saints level 2014, 2015 bad. Like, they don't know what they're doing. They can't line up. They get busted coverages. Dudes running wide open. So they're atrocious. But if Matt Ryan plays, it could be competitive. But Dave, if 100-year-old Matt Schaub plays, we are talking Saints are going to drop a 40 burger on them. So I'm going to say the Falcons are going to play Matt Schaub because why would you risk Matt Ryan getting injured against the Saints pass rush? So I'm going to say Saints 42, Atlanta 3. It won't end 28-3, but we will get our moment of the scoreboard reading 28-3. And your MVP, Marcus Davenport's going to have 3 sacks. How about that?
Wow, those are Reggie White-like numbers. That's like my buddy who thinks Marcus Davenport is the second coming of Reggie White. My friend is also an idiot, but
That is the worst.
I played the wrong thing. But so guys, thanks for joining us in the live stream. Hey Dave, we had 2 consecutive weeks of the live stream not being terrible.
well, that is something else.
Something else. Afraid to say lay the point. So everybody, thanks for joining us. Join us for the daily shows the rest of the week. We're gonna have some people from cover LSU. I got to get in touch with them, but we'll have that Thursday, Friday. We'll have the full Falcons preview once Andrew makes it back safe and recuperates from his Disney World experience. But thanks for joining us in the chat room. Remember to sign up at the link RSVP for the live stream. I mean the live show, so you can get a T-shirt from
My wife.
So for Dave, for Andrew and Kevin who are MIA, I'm Ralph. Until next week, the bar is closed.